Yes, that's interesting. Dr. Theodorou, can you mention a success story where robotics were applied to some industry, some customer of yours, and things changed, improved? You may need 2 hours again, like somebody else. But
every robotics project or system is a small research project. So I haven't seen yet an application which is exactly similar to another one. And even in some situations where we consider that the application is straightforward and no strings attached, then we fail sometimes because the devil is in the details, it's hidden in the details. So we have to be careful. Now, how we overcome that, because your question is more marketing, how we communicate what we do. I believe that the customers, industries, they should focus not on the technology, but on the application, on the problem they have. So, and this is actually our main challenge, is because customers say, I want the robot, I want this, I want the other. Practically, what we are trying to find out, and that's not easy, is what is the real problem that the customer is trying to solve by asking robots or something like that. Now, if we can do that, then half of the problem is solved, because we understand what the customer wants. So practically, what we try to do is to have many application case studies, as we call them, in our website. And then there, we focus mostly on the application, the problem solved, rather than on the technology used. Of course, the customers always like to see the technology. Plus, the fact that usually customers are shy. They don't want to show their production. We have to have special permission, etc., and usually somebody says, no, we don't want to show that. However, if we go our way, application solved, then it's okay. We don't need to say we solve the problem to this particular industry.
That's very true.
That's the way we do it, anyway.
A robot is not a solution looking for a problem, in other words. Professor Valavanis, what impact do you foresee in AI integration having on the future of robotics in Greece?
Well, to begin with, AI 1.0 failed several years ago for several reasons. These reasons do not exist right now. So AI for robotics, not AI and robotics together. I think that AI can be used as a tool and a support technology to improve some functionality of robot manipulators or robot platforms. However, we need to define the problem and we need to define the application, because the impact AI may have on a proposed robot solution depends on the application. In medical robotics and in telesurgery or in robotics-assisted surgery, I don't believe that in the current stage AI can do a lot. On the other hand, again, depending on the application, I would like to confine and limit the impact of AI into a robotics problem. In other words, I don't want AI to make decisions by itself without the human being involved, and that's a major problem when it comes to decision making. Do you have completely autonomous systems where you have AI deciding for the robot, or you have the human in the loop? Could be human in the loop where the human is always involved, or human on the loop where the human is involved if and only if necessary. That means that we have to define the if and only if necessary. AI can provide a different perspective, particularly because of the computational power that we have, infinite computational power and infinite computational time. Therefore, can reach decisions faster than a human being. However, a robot is a physical system. So the physical system has to be modeled, has to be controlled. And AI cannot provide for this. And therefore, the role of AI, the impact is supportive in my opinion. is not the solution, is perhaps an improvement to an already existing solution because of speed and because of ability to go through more alternatives than a human being, the human operator.
Okay, thank you. And so now we'll open the floor for questions. Not too many, because we are close to the end of this discussion. But if you have some questions, please raise your hand, and there will be a microphone somewhere. Yes, I don't see the microphone. Here it comes.
Thanks. Okay. It's a generic question, but since we have good representatives of the industry, and because HERON is supposed to create an ecosystem, not do research, but transfer the research, would you have any comment on how to, so we heard about applications, we heard about success stories, medicine and Theodorou group. Would you have anything in particular that will help innovation when it comes to robotics? First, because robotics, you mentioned, is interdisciplinary. It's not an informatics, it's not an information discipline. It's not purely engineering. And second, because we live in the AI era, as we say. There's a big hype about AI. Maybe robotics is part of it, maybe not. Would you have any comments on how robotics will transfer technology, especially for HERON? We touched upon it, but not too much. Thanks.
I guess, who wants to reply?
Since you are talking about technology transfer and about implementation, I think that it's extremely important for HERON to develop a prototype and showcase the prototype. Seeing is believing. So basically, for HERON to be long-term successful, you need to demonstrate what you can develop, what is there. So this is going eventually to speed up innovation because you gain credibility, and by having something, a prototype, which is applied into industry, allows you to be believable and then speed up, get more funding, etc., etc.
Okay, anybody else wants to add?
Well, the AI, as we said, is something which is in addition. And I'm always afraid of these new technologies being spread in the market because they lead to wrong decisions by buyers. So for me, what's important, and for HERON especially, is to understand properly what is required as an ecosystem, a robotics ecosystem in Greece, and also have to understand or focus on areas that are important for the Greek market, all right? So you say probably medicine or packaging or something like that, but it has to be focused because robotics is such a general area. We can see so many applications of robotics. For example, now we see robotics applied in the warehouse, all right? And actually there are many applications there. However, you cannot do everything, all right? So if there will be some focus and they will understand properly the issues involved, then we'll have a success, I'm sure, 100%.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other question? No, many questions. Huh? Yeah, of course.
I think that we have a great opportunity to create an ecosystem around robotics because we have the ingredients, which is the talent, we have the research organizations, and we have the industry, which is booming, as I said before. But we have to connect these pieces together. And I think we can facilitate this process.
Yeah.
Okay, that's.
Okay, microphone here. Please mention who you would like to respond to your question.
Hello, thank you very much for the interesting panel. Mainly to Dr. Theodorou and the Dritsas. We've heard of a lot of application areas, which, you know, agriculture, medicine, whatever, which is sort of common, of common interest to globally. And catching up from what you said, Dr. Theodorou, is there any niche area that is sort of very specific for the needs of Greece, where we as HERON could really focus? You know the market in Greece. We all know that Greece, and you mentioned it, is sort of has problems, you know, introduce it. Can we find really a niche area that is very specific? Of course, it's not going to be unique, but very specific for the Greek interests, economically, and of course, for Mr. Dritsas. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's a very difficult question, you know, there's no answer. It just, now, let's see what we see at least. You know, in Greece, you know, we're talking industry, all right? There are two types of industries. One is the multinationals, and the other are the Greek companies. And the multinationals, they don't have a problem. Actually, the specifications come directly from the head office and say, I need this, 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 and this. And there's a limited room for play for the local companies. It's just to find the proper systems integrator in Greece. Now, the issue is with the Greek companies. That the Greek companies, that they don't have a knowledge. They haven't been buying robots before. So it's the first time. So what we see is that when we go to a new customer, especially a Greek company, they don't know what they want to buy, and we don't know what we should sell to them. So it's a vague situation. So this is okay. So for me, the number one issue here is how to train companies to buy these systems. No, I don't know if I replied to your question, but at least we see an area that we have to, you know, it's no point in somebody picking up and say, I want 2 robots. All right, what to do with the 2 robots? All right, I want to have this application. Yes, all right. So you have to understand what type of applications can be solved through robotics. And that will be a step forward. And however, since that will not take us to the next level easily, because you see, other countries are already into the next level. So we need to train our industry. That, I mean, I'm doing that. It's practically majority of my work is how to train, how to write articles about that, etc. So that is. Now, if I replied or not to you, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Well, I would like to add on that we have the marine industry of Greece, which is one of the biggest, I think it's the biggest worldwide, and there are many applications in that industry that underwater robotics can do a lot of difficult jobs and help to increase our competitive advantage in that area. Another side is the applications in safety, security, and military applications. We know that we have a new organization here in Greece, ELCAC, the Hellenic Organizations for Defense, and they are giving challenges and calls for new industrial applications, but also for military purposes. And this is an area that would also be investigated. And we also have space robotics, which is an area with unexploited potential, and Greece is quite good on that respect. So I think these 3 areas are to be exploited.
I appreciate your last comment.